Hello there, my name's Chris, and today I wanted to show off the entry that I submitted to Cheeseys Studios Lego Minecraft contest. Good grief, that's a mouthful. I understand that I am, I think, 4-5 months late. He hosted the contest in August, ending in September. Well, three things actually. I don't usually do videos. It's been a very, very, very long time since I've done something like this. Secondly, I got married. So this is actually our wedding cake topper. These are our wedding favors that were handed out to our guests. A lot of small things at our wedding were Lego. So that's, yeah, I think that's kind of fun. Thirdly is, well, I'll show you. It's quite big. I've had to rearrange my desk slightly just to fit it all in. I put up a bit of paper, try and cover up these magnolia walls. And hopefully you can now see the whole thing. Get that last bit in. There we go. So what I decided to do, I thought would be quite a fun idea, was to replicate something that used to happen to me and my friends an awful lot when we were playing Minecraft. We'd start a new world, we'd run around for a bit, we'd find something pretty cool, whether that be a natural spawning thing or, you know, like an in-game structure. And what would inevitably happen is one of us would forget that the giant cliff or ravine that we just happened across was where it was. And we'd inevitably run, sprinting headfirst off the edge and plummet to our demise. I always think this is such a fun thing, and it always caused fits of laughter. And I wanted to see if I could try and capture that in this mock. We have, way at the top, a very confused bunch of adventurers who turn their back for 1 second, and their mate just so happened to disappear down a ravine. Here down at the bottom of the ravine is our unfortunate player. When a player in Minecraft takes damage, their entire player model turns red. The same thing happens when they die. It's kind of morbid, but I thought it'd be very fun because Lego produces the Minecraft head in red, would be to basically just make a completely red player to show that it is the player meeting the respawn screen. I've scattered around the green 1x1 flat tiles to show their XP, and then decided to put the, I think it's the minifigure clip hand things, I can't remember, just sticking a bit of wheat in one, a melon in the other, and a piece of bread in the other. As well as using the robot hand away in the back there to show a wooden shovel gently rotating. For the blocks themselves, it is just a 1x1 square with a 1x1 square plate on top. So while doing some research, and by research I mean flying around in creative mode, I came across this structure, the one that I've based this mock on, and away down the bottom had this really weird sort of terrain generation with these sort of openings that don't really go anywhere, and it was filled with coal, and wanted to really show off how sort of weird the terrain generation gets, especially in some of these world post caves and cliffs. I also wanted to have something a little more visually interesting. I think trying to capture the weirdness of Minecraft's terrain is half the fun. So that's why I opted to do all this work when you wouldn't necessarily see it. Before I get too far away from it, I should probably highlight the slightly strange pattern that you're seeing. So on this very right hand edge is an enormous patch of diorite. I think diorite's quite interesting because it makes for some fantastic building blocks, especially when it's been polished and cut and things like that. But in Lego, if it's just white, to me, that's snow. And I mean, sand red, while an incredibly rare and increasingly more difficult colour to come by, makes the perfect granite. And one thing that I have not quite got enough sand blue for, but I think would make for perfect andesite, managed to make one whole cube. Don't really think you can see it that well, but it is using this technique of using grill tiles just to add an extra tiny square into the surface of each block, just to try and make the distinction between andesite, diorite and granite, away from just your standard smooth stone. I do think this same technique would work for the cobbled bricks as well, but I haven't been able to really include it in this particular mock. I might try again in the future. I'm just not particularly happy with how the test that I did came out, but I do think it works great for andesite, diorite and granite. And yes, I did have to look up the names, I completely forgot them. So on this side you can see more of that enormous patch of diorite. You can also see some copper ore, some iron ore, and what I was trying to go for with this tiny patch of trans blue there is the glow lichen, I think it's called. Yeah, I'm not convinced it's really does the effect much justice. It's two trans blue grill pieces. I was trying to get that texture through that the glow lichen creates, but I don't think it really works. Only one person so far has commented on it being a bit of a weird inclusion, so yeah, I can sort of see where they're coming from. Here at the top of this mock is the flowery fields, complete with buzzing bees that our player was skipping through before he, fell. Fairly standard construction away on top. The tree is just constructed out of lots of snot pieces and hidden by all the greenery. And then the same sort of goes for the lower section, so where the dirt becomes sort of one block thick. You sort of see these sticking out of the left and right there. And they're just created by putting two plates next to each other, sort of upside down and on top of each other. That way you can get the entirely smoothed off base. There's no, I think they're called anti-studs. I think that's a really weird name, but hey ho. Yeah, the anti-studs aren't exposed, so it's actually 2x2 plates just flipped upside down. It's a slightly more complicated way of doing it, but it's really simple. It's a kind of underrated technique. If you've played Minecraft at all, you will have come across a passive mob stuck somewhere on the side of a mountain. So that was a complete no-brainer to include here. So I've pulled back here as much as physically possible to try and show as much of the build off in one go as possible. And as you can see, it is quite the ridiculous build. When you are building in this scale, things can get way out of hand. very, very quickly. I think I'll show that best by including the 2 sets that Cheesy graciously offered as a prize. So I actually held on to the 2 boxes that these sets came in, just as a way to show the scale of this model. Even stacking the 2 of them on top of each other doesn't quite illustrate just how tall this ended up being. I think I would like to continue building this. Obviously I'm very, very limited on space, as you can probably tell. So I think what I'll be doing is, instead of doing a massive sprawling project like Cheesy is doing, I think I'll continue on in this sort of form factor and actually do another 8x16 blocks behind this one, so sort of continuing the world on further. The world that I generated and found this naturally spawning structure in does actually have a landmass connecting to this, and I think it'd be fun to try and continue that on. So hopefully, if I get round to it, I will build another section. Might not be for another Cheesy Studios contest. I think I might just do this off my own back. I'd just like to say thank you again to Cheesy for hosting this contest. I think it was a fantastic idea, and I'm looking forward to seeing if you do another one in the future. I just want to give a shout out to Mark A and Reaction, who are both individuals on Cheesy's Discord server. Mark A, absolute champ, was very supportive of me building. It was real good fun to have a chat with you. And Reaction, who, as I was editing the photos to post them in the Discord, he posted his submission, and he had a very similar idea to me, with a very similar premise, but he had gone as far as to add motors to his, and the player was actually, sorry, not the player, the player's items were actually spinning on the ground, just like they do in the game, which I think is absolutely brilliant. And hey, I guess great minds think alike. Yeah, thank you again so much for watching. Hope to see you again soon. Thank you.